I first met Ken Gaub at Mount Hope back in 1990. He preached about divine appointments, how God can find you anywhere, anytime, and speak your name when you least expect it. He was funny, approachable, and full of stories that made faith feel alive. After the service, I bought his book, God's Got Your Number, and asked him to sign it. I didn't realize it then, but that book would become a marker of divine providence in my own story, a reminder that God never loses track of his children. One of the stories Ken shared, the one that gave the book its title, has always stayed with me. There was a woman who wanted to end her life. In desperation, she prayed, "God, if you're real, let me reach that evangelist I saw on television last night." She began dialing random numbers, crying as she prayed. Across town, Ken Gaub was walking past a payphone, and it started ringing. He almost ignored it, but felt prompted to answer. When he picked up, the woman on the other end said, "Is this Ken Gaub?" He said, "Yes, this is Ken Gaub." Through that impossible moment, that divine intersection, he talked her down and led her back to hope. That was divine providence in action. God quite literally had her number, and he made sure she knew it. Years later, during my time in Los Alamos, I gave my signed copy of that very book to Bill Davis. He thought it was a self-help book, but soon realized it was a God-help book. The fact that it was signed made all the difference. It wasn't just coincidence or story, it was confirmation of everything I had been telling him. That autograph was like God's own signature across my testimony, saying, "This is true. This is mine." Bill Davis kept that book, and I've always believed it ended up exactly where it was supposed to be. Then, during the quiet years that followed, Ken Gaub came again to Mount Hope, and I purchased another copy. He signed that one too, and this time I kept it. That moment wasn't chance. It was another layer of confirmation, another thread pulled tight between seasons. The first book had been a seed, given away to someone who needed the message. The second was a reminder that what's given in obedience often returns multiplied. And now, years later, I told Randall about that same book. That's the pattern of God. His word keeps traveling, finding new hands, new hearts, new witnesses. From Mount Hope to Los Alamos, through quiet years and new awakenings, the message hasn't changed. This kind of pattern, the rhythm of divine providence, comes in waves that I can sometimes see, but it's happening all the time behind the scenes. What happened with this book took many years to unfold, but it followed the same pattern that has guided me since the beginning. The world calls it micro reflects the macro. I call it the fingerprint of God, the same divine order written in both the smallest seed and the largest star. In his kingdom, the very small is the same as the very large. Every act, every encounter, every confirmation, all of it moves in the same rhythm, drawing everything back to its source. And then, just when I least expected it, that same rhythm appeared again, not over decades this time, but in a single afternoon. God's still got my number, and he's got yours too.